Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you a painting I made based on this digital mock-up that I made on my Samsung Galaxy Tab S6. I'm just going to start by sketching in the outlines of the eyes, the brow and the edges of the face, and the nose and mouth, as usual, like I usually do for these. I really wanted to start with a basic layout and design of what I was going to paint. This is going to be a little bit of a weird one today. It is going to be a little bit of a trippy psychedelic type of painting, something cool to hang on your wall if you want. I'm just going to be finishing up the last little bit of details here on the sketch before I start painting. And then finally going in with paint, I'm going to take a black and outline the eyes, the nose. Basically everything I sketched in here is going to be covered in black. And then I'm going to paint over certain areas that are black, and they will show through the paint a little bit to give me a guideline of where I need to go back on. It's a technique that I'm trying to work around since I'm not super familiar with acrylic painting, or any painting for that matter. But this has been super fun so far, trying to figure out how to do these. Probably gonna try a grayscale painting next, I think. Just feathering in that fur really lightly. And you'll see here I'm outlining the saliva with black. I later decided that this wasn't the best look, so I go back over some of that with white. But for now I'm going in with a neon yellow and coloring in that saliva. And then a neon orange for the tongue as well. And also the tear ducts. And then I'm taking magenta, throwing that in for the base fur color. And as I'm painting this in, I'm painting it in the direction of how the fur would actually flow. Because every brush stroke creates some sort of texture. I want the texture to look like it's sort of like fur. Then I'm taking purple and I'm going in for the fur markings with that darker color. And I started improvising a little bit. Some of it looks a little bit different from the reference that I drew up. It's okay, that was just a mock-up, just to get an idea. Then going back in with that magenta and going a little bit more in depth with the fur. Then I'm going to take a sky blue and do the edges of this cat wolf thing. Not really sure what it's supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be a cat at first, but I don't really know. It just looks cool. I'm using that sky blue and I'm outlining everything and fading it out. Then I'm going to take robin's egg blue and blend the edges back in with that here in a second. Right there. Just really making sure that I'm scraping that color on to get that texture. And then taking more white and going back in for the white fur to re-highlight those accents around the eyes and the nose, and just little brushes of fur here and there to make it look more three-dimensional. Not too much though. And a little bit of highlight on the nose too. And then here's where I go in with the white again and go over the saliva to get rid of that harsh black outline. It looked way too messy and too thick in certain places. So you'll see there's several points in this painting where I go over with white acrylic paint, a really thick layer, and then you can go back over that white and paint over it. And while I'm letting the saliva dry, I take more of that white and do these trippy outlines around the whole thing, just like I showed in my mock-up in the beginning. And I will end up using that white base of those stripes to add on color later. Just making them really fluffy and cool looking. Taking some white and putting a tooth in there that I was missing, and a little bit more pieces of fur here and there. And I'm taking that sky blue again and making striped designs, as you can see. Just trying to add some patterns and detail to the background to make it look intricate so that it catches your eye. And obviously, like I said, I wanted a psychedelic effect. And then I'm going back in with that neon yellow over that white that I painted on the saliva to redo that. And you can see that there's barely an outline there now, which is exactly what I wanted right off the bat. So now I take that same neon yellow and throw it over the stripes. And make sure every part of that white is saturated. And once again, going back and forth with some black to add in some final edges and details. You'll notice throughout the whole painting I was going back and forth with white and black and magenta and purple and recorrecting things. I just added a little bit of hatching effect there just to make it look kind of like it was drawn or like a comic book kind of style. I'm going in with a little bit of black for the fur, and then some lines there to show the creases for the nose, and they came out a little bit thick, so I'm going to go back on them with magenta again to thin them out. And a little bit of black around that saliva, not too much. And then I'm taking a sea green and blending that into the stripes there to fade them out so that the bright neon green is faded out away from its face. Give it a little bit of a smudgy gradient look. Then I'm taking black again and creating some more patterns around the stripes with the black. That's going to balance it out a little bit with the harsh blacks in the creature's head. Cat, wolf, dog, creature, still not really sure. Just going around the whole thing with that black. I'm taking that black and going in with a little bit more fur detail, as you can see. I never want to stop. Then one of the last big steps that we have here is taking white acrylic paint again and dabbing little dots all around the stripes just to brighten that up. And I was going to add a little bit more color on top of these white dots, but I ended up thinking it looked pretty good, so I kept it that way. Just adding them all around every single stripe. And I kept them thick and globby so that they were pure white. I kept a lot of the background thick and globby to give it a ton of texture. And then going over those black details with magenta again, and just some fine little touches with white again at the end, I think, here. And this was a really fun experiment to do. I definitely want to do some more crazy pictures like this in the future, but I have a grayscale image in mind for the next one, I think. Maybe another digital painting too. We'll see. But I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and please give this video a like. And if you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and I will definitely have more for you guys to check out. See ya.